Although the prison sentence mainly aims to rehabilitate criminals and take a look at to create them productive members of society, many of those reform institutions have forgotten the aim of their establishment, so I became a hotbed of corruption and crime rather than being correctional and academic institutions. We monitor for you the subsequent 6 most dangerous prisons within the world, in line with the HuffPost. Alcatraz Island Prison, USA. Alcatraz Prison. This federal prison was built over San Francisco's Alcatraz Island, referred to as the Rock, or Devil Island, and was built 1920 to deal with criminals who committed counterfeiting crimes, and prisoners weren't allowed to talk, and most prisoners were raped before being enclosed 1963, and turns into a tourist attraction. Evin Prison, Iran. Located within the Evin region northwest of the Tehran, the prison was established in 1962 during the reign of Mohammad Reza Shah, and it absolutely was opened in 1972, and political prisoners were held during this prison before and after the revolution of the Shah's regime. And human rights reports indicate that he was the scene of political crimes against opponents, also referred to as the Evin University Prison. Because most of its inmates are intellectuals and university professors opposing, and after many reports of torture crimes occurring inside it spread, the Iranian authorities were forced to maneuver it outside the capital, Tehran, and switch the building into a public park. Stanley Prison, Port. Prison in Port. The prison is found within the Chinese city of Port, and therefore the perpetrators of the foremost violent crimes within the country are imprisoned, while the oldest prison remains in commission. It absolutely was built 1937 and was considered one amongst the best prisons within the geographical region at the time of its construction. The Stanley Prison was built of stone, concrete, and steel, and it consists of 6 buildings surrounded by a wall that reaches a height of 5.5 meters, which is one amongst the 6 most heavily guarded buildings in Port, and was a known place of execution before the Gov abolished this kind of punishment in 1990. Camp 22, North Korea. Camp 22 in North Korea is the worst prison within the entire world, because of its complete isolation from the surface world, and its construction dates back to 1965. It absolutely was reserved for political prisoners, and in some cases variety of prisoners and their families were imprisoned for all times. Camp 1990 in 1990 contained quite 50,000 prisoners, and their worst variety of torture was scientific experiments like rats. Ofer Prison, Israel. Ofer Prison. Ofer Prison is found on the lands of Baytunia and Rafat villages, west of Ramallah, and is affiliated with the Israeli Prison Authority, where it's dedicated to Palestinian security prisoners and prisoners. Prisoners call Ofer Guantanamo, given the abhorrent violations and therefore the various methods of torture practiced against prisoners. While the prison built during British People Mandate period contains several tents, each tent has 20 prisoners, while it can accommodate about 1,500 prisoners. Pedak Island Prison, Russia. This prison is considered a Russian version of the American Alcatraz prison. It absolutely was built on an island within the middle of the White Lake, surrounded by freezing water on either side all the time. A jail experience is analogous to living in hell. Each prisoner is locked inside a narrow, heavily guarded cell for 22.5 hours, then the prisoners are transferred outside the cells to fenced-in cages with wire for 1.5 hours each day, which makes them mentally unstable, effectively driving them crazy. Thanks to the low temperatures caused by the freezing water nearby, and snowfall, many prisoners died from the cold, while hardened criminals and killers are imprisoned there, to serve a life sentence, because the execution is prohibited in Russia. Please subscribe and activate the care button to receive all new